we'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong. Together we
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've been seeing all over YouTube that this year is the Ralph Lauren Christmas trend deal, whatever. So I figured I didn't know that plaid look was Ralph Lauren, but I really like it. So I figured, you know what? We will do it, but we're going to do it Blue Elephant style. So I decided that what I'm going to do is I am going to use this gorgeous fabric that I found at Walmart, and I am going to use Let's Resin's deep, juicy, chunky coaster molds, and we're also going to use that really big beautiful storage bowl mold that they have as well, and we're gonna do the Blue Elephant take on a Ralph Lauren Christmas. Now, the first thing that I want to do is all of the rules and all of that stuff before somebody who's like diehard whatever sees this video and starts yelling at me. I don't care. I'm not here to whatever, like, to follow a bunch of rules and be all blah about it. This is what I want to do, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to very loosely follow them. So I know it's a lot of plaids, and it's the kind of red, green, white plaid with gold or silver, and then you can do like the other color plaids as well, but not mixed together, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, what I decided to do is, because I'm going to do this in multiple layers with these coasters, I have chosen to dust the edge of the coasters with Let's Resin's chrome gold powder. This way, when I do the different layers and once we add the fabric in there and whatever, you're not going to see them off to the side. Now, that being said, could I do it with a paint pen? Sure, yes, but I want to do it this way because I'm hoping that I can avoid having to do that. A lot of times, my issue with doing it with a paint pen is a couple of things, okay? One, sometimes when you're doing multiple layers like this, there is a tendency that you can get bubbles around the edges. And if you paint with a chrome marker, or any marker for that matter, on top of it, then those bubbles seem to amplify, right? It causes a lot more like, oh my God, there's a hole there type thing. Now, if I do it like this, hopefully, fingers crossed, that won't be an issue if we get any bubbles, which I am keeping my fingers crossed that we're not. Plus, I also don't like how sometimes you can get the streaks from markers, so I don't want to do that. I just want to try to avoid that. So that's why I am dusting it. Now, as for the resin, we are using Let's Resin's epoxy resin for this. Now, to get the red that I wanted, I decided that I was going to go with the Rolio pigment paste in Scarlet. But when I was looking at it, like when I matched it up against from the pigment paste and the fabric itself, it didn't look quite this bright. So I don't know. I was kind of a little hesitant with that. So I decided that just to kind of deepen and richen that red tone a little bit and change it up just a little bit, not a whole lot, I'm going to add a little bit of Eye Candy's red mica powder in there. I'll have the links below for it because God knows I can never remember all the color names. Anyway, so I mixed that up, right? Now what I want to do is for this bowl, now hindsight, initially I wanted to go red around here. I was going to add the fabric now. Well, not now, but after the red cured. It's going to change later on. So right now all I'm doing is I want to fill it up to right at the base of the bottom of it, right? Because then my plan is to put some clear resin, add the fabric in there, and go that route. So I don't want it to cover the top, and I'm pouring it very, very slowly so that I don't have a lot of cleanup to do afterwards, in theory. I did take it after I got about halfway and just kind of smushed it around that bottom just to, if there's any bubbles in there, hopefully that'll dislodge them. And then I'm just kind of slowly filling it up to that point where I want it. Then we're going to set this off to the side and let it cure. Now, like I said, that changes. This is typical what we talked about in the last video, how I start off one thing and things just go in a completely different direction, but it's fine. It'll be fine. All right, so spraying it with a little bit of alcohol in there just to kind of help hopefully pop any bubbles that rise. Wiping it down with a baby wipe just to get all of the little bits of resin drops and stuff. So like I said, I don't have to clean it later. Now it is time for these coasters. Now my plan is to go about 2-ish ounces of resin in each one for the bottom layer. Again, we're doing multiple layers. I don't want that fabric to show any way you look at it, except for from the top down. Okay. So I want to make sure that the red that is going to be the backing isn't so thin that it's transparent. We do want to make sure that we get a nice coating along the bottom. And then I'm just taking my scribe and coaxing it to all of the edges. We're going to go around all those edges with the scribe just to, again, dislodge any bubbles that may be there. Now, as I'm doing this, I am being mindful of the fact that I do have it dusted, so I don't want to scrape it up. However, I pretty much, when I was cleaning around with the Q-tip, that pointed one, I did kind of make it so it doesn't quite touch the bottom. Like there's just a tiny bit of space there. So hopefully that won't be an issue. But, you know, we're just going to have to wait until demold to find out. All right, so after I'm done making sure that I've got enough in each one that I'm not going to have an issue with it as it cures, pulling away from the mold or anything like that, I'm just going to divide the little bit of resin that I have left over between the 4, trying to keep them as even as possible. Now, because we have the sides dusted, in theory, it shouldn't make that much of a difference. In actuality, again, I'm not sure, but I do want to keep it as even as possible for it. Then we are going to give it a quick spritz of alcohol, set these babies off to the side to cure. I guess I'm hitting it with a heat gun too before alcohol, so we'll pretend like I know what I'm doing and I remember all of the things, because I don't necessarily, like, I edit, but I do a loose edit. You know what I mean? Before I do my voiceover. Anyway, okay, so back to what I'm doing. I pulled a little bit of resin off to the side, and I decided that I wanted to try and see if we can make a Ralph Lauren frog as well. So that's what we're going to do. A little bit of clear resin in the bottom, set that off to the side. We'll come back to that later on. So as far as for the fabric, I kind of got a rough estimate. I have that fall bowl that I made with the ribbon around it setting out. So I just kind of traced along the bottom of that to get a template for the fabric to cut out for the bottom of the mold. Now it's rough, but it'll get us close enough. Okay. And then I should have thought about this beforehand, but of course, you know, I don't. I do things and then I think. I should have traced this using the bottom of that mold before I put resin in it, just to kind of get my sizing right. I mean, I figured it out in the end. It just took a little bit longer than it should have. Making sure that it's fitting. Now, as I say this, right, we want it to fit, but we want a little bit of red to be seen, that resin that's underneath of it. We don't want it to go all the way up and touching the sides of the mold. So I'm giving them, it's kind of a rough cut. I mean, like, it's close, don't get me wrong, it'll fit in there, but I'm gonna have to cut a little bit off of it and play with it for a while to make sure that after I put it in there, because I am going to, instead of putting it into wet resin, what my plan is, I'm going to pretend like I am decoupaging it, and I'm going to put a layer of Mod Podge down, and then I'm going to put my fabric down, and then I'm going to go over it with Mod Podge on the top too. This way, I'm hoping that a couple things happen. One, hopefully that'll keep some of the air from coming out, because when you have fabric and you're putting fabric in resin, remember, fabric is porous, so you're going to get a lot of air bubbles that are going to rise out and come out and all of the things, and then that's going to heighten your chances of getting a bunch of air bubbles in your resin, which I don't want. And then I have to worry about it moving. So I'm figure if I glue it down, I'm not going to have to worry about the moving aspect or lifting up or doing anything stupid, weird, any of those things, right? I'm going to put it on top too. Now, do I think, because I'm not like, you can see what I'm putting on the bottom, right? I don't want this to be so saturated with glue that it's going to take forever and a year to dry. Like, I want this to dry relatively quickly so that I can get my next layer of resin poured, because as usual, I'm running behind. I'm on a time crunch and all of the things. So I don't want to make this a super, super thick coating of glue. Plus, I have learned from the past that if you make it too thick, then when it dries, it's not going to dry clear. It's going to dry white. I don't want that either. So I am keeping it thin. I'm just brushing it over there. So that being said, the resin is going to absorb into this fabric. If you have not worked with fabric before, know that this is going to happen. So for whatever reason, if your mold calls for 8 ounces of resin and you put fabric in there, plan on it taking more. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, but it does. I don't understand. Like, I get the absorption part of it. I get that, right? But I don't understand how it can take more, because it's the same amount of space. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, there's no more space, but for whatever reason, it seems to. So I know that it's going to absorb some of it. Now, I am going a little bit heavier along the edges because I don't want those to pull up at all. But as far as the top, thin layer, because I don't want anything weird happening. And then hopefully on top of that, I'm hoping that it'll keep the fabric from getting too dark. Does that make sense? Because when you wet fabric, what happens? It darkens up, right? Because it's absorbing that water. Well, it's going to be absorbing the resin that I put down, so it's going to darken. So I'm hoping that maybe by this layer of glue will help it. I don't know. We'll find out when we put the resin on. I don't know. I don't know. All right, last one. And this is what I'm talking about when I went back and I cut it, and then, I thought, okay, well, this is good. Well, as I'm gluing it down, I'm stretching it out because I don't want any wrinkles in the fabric, right? I want it to be nice and flat. So as I'm stretching it out and pushing it down, it's elongating because the wrinkles are coming out of it. Makes sense? So I do have to trim it here and there just to make sure that I have a nice little edge all the way around for my resin to adhere onto that bottom layer and not to have anything screwy happen. Like I said, I wanted to try it with the frog, so I'm just going to use my scraps, and I'm not throwing away these scraps because I have an idea of what we can do for them in another video, or do with them in another video, maybe, if I get to it this year. Either way, I'm not throwing them away. So save on to your even like slightly bigger pieces of scrap material, because you can use it in something else. So I'm doing the frog, right? Same thing, only I instead of cutting out one piece because I didn't have a template and I wasn't about to shove stuff in there and loosen that or whatever. I just did a couple different pieces. We'll see what it looks like when it's demolded. I don't really know if this is going to work like this, but we're going to try it out. I figured I'd do the same thing with the turtle too, because I had a little bit of clear resin left over. So I was like, let's try it, see what happens. We don't know unless we try stuff. So is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I don't know at this point, but we'll find out together. So just trimming off a little bit of that fabric because it's a little bit too long once I go to glue it down. We're going to set these guys off to the side. The fabric from our coasters is now dry, so I am going to get my resin ready for that. Okay, so I've got my resin not mixing yet. This is pretty much dry. I'm waiting for the frog and the turtle to dry, so hopefully I can get them all poured in one go. We'll see. However, I decided that what I want to do is, for this layer, I need to cover up those edges where the fabric is. Like like where the fabric and the resin you can see, because I'm not super happy, but like I don't want to see it. So I want to kind of disguise it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get some of my colored glass and I am just going to go in there with the colors that are in the fabric already. So red, gold, green. I wish I had a deeper green, but unfortunately the little bit that I had wouldn't have made it. So I'm just going to use the lighter green. It's fine. It'll be fine. Pour a little bit of resin in here. Now at this stage with this layer, I don't want it thick. Couple of reasons. One, I know that I'm going to have some air being released from this. So I could most definitely, like I could do the rest of it, pour my clear, whatever, be done with it in one more pour and that's it. But I'm going to have an issue with air bubbles. I have a feeling, right? I also have all this glass in here that is going to do God knows what. If I put a bunch of resin in there, the chances of it floating and doing what it wants to do as opposed to what I want it to do are a lot higher. I want it to stay along the edge. Now, there's a different way that I could have, should have done this, but I didn't. But I'm going to show you when we get to the bowl. That will eliminate the 30 minutes that I literally spent trying to drag all of this glass back over to the sides of these molds. Now, I did get a little bit smarter and decided to use the little squeegee tool, but it still took forever because even once I pushed it there, the resin that I was pushing along with it just kind of pushed it right back out. So it's fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, I'm only adding a little bit. Like I said, we've got the issue with air bubbles that could potentially happen. We have the glass that I don't want going all over the place. And also, I want multiple layers because I want some dimension in these pieces. I'm not done adding what I'm going to add to them yet. So, sprayed them with alcohol. They're setting over to cure. Now it's time for this bowl. I decided that I'm just going to add the fabric after the fact. I was going to end up doing a top coat anyway from the inside of the bowl because I was going to do something else. But I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And I was like, I don't want a clear layer around the sides of the bowl. And there's still some side that is showing. Like it's not as high as it could potentially be. But I didn't want to make it any higher because I didn't want the chance of that color coming up over the top and ruining it. So I decided that I'm just going to remix some of that same red color using Eye Candy's Mica Rolio's pigment paste, mix it up, finish filling the bowl. It's all one color now. I wish I would have thought of this from the get because then I could have just done it in one pour and we could be moving on to this next, part of this one. But it is what it is. We live, we learn, we change, whatever. But now that I mix up the color, I have some resin left over. So I'm just going to finish up the frog and the turtle. Turtle's full, sprayed them with alcohol. Now it's time for the frog. Now, of course, I didn't have quite enough of the red mixture left to fill it up the whole way. Which it's fine. It actually kind of works out better because I had meant to put some of that glass glitter down on the inside of the frog where the fabric is to incorporate it like I am with the rest of the pieces. And I forgot. And then I poured the red and I was like, oh, I wanted to put that in there. But in order to put the red in there, it wouldn't show. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just do it a little bit differently. And I'll just add it to the back part of him so his feet will have it in there at the end. It'll be fine. It's same basic concept, same color, same materials, whatever, just in a little bit of a different order. The only thing that I'm worried about now is that glass glitter was supposed to help kind of hide the edges of the fabric, and now I don't have that. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll find out. Okay, so this is the next day. The bowl is completely done for the most part. Like we can demold it now. We've got some more work to do to it, but it's done. And the turtle is done. So we can demold that as well. Beautiful red color. It's not too vivid. It's got a little bit of richness in there from that mica powder. So super pretty, but it's just a plain red bowl. And I'm not all about that. So now it is time to add the fabric. And just look when I lay this in here. Just look how much that changes it. It just makes it so much more beautiful, but I can't wait. I can't wait. All right, so I realize, of course, it's a little bit too big. We're going to cut that down a little bit. Same reasoning as we did in the other with the coasters. We need to have a little bit of space where the resin's going to touch. Now, granted, if it goes up over, I could just make the amount of resin I pour in the bowl higher to cover that, but I'm not trying to lose the depth of the bowl. It's one of the reasons why I really like this bowl mold so much is because of how nice and big and deep it is. Like, it's a gorgeous bowl. Same deal. Mod Podge down, put in the fabric, paying close attention to the edges. Now, it did go up a little bit, and I wasn't about to cut any more of it off. It's fine. Like I said, we can fix that. That's not a problem. But I am going in there, making sure it's nice and tight in there, nice and flat. And then I'm going to let this dry, and we will demold Mr. Turtle here to see if it worked on him. Now, not sure because, again, I just don't know. But look how pretty that looks just by itself. And we're nowhere near being done with this yet. All right, so here's the turtle. So it didn't work. Now, I'm guessing because it's that diamond mold, but it's fine. Like I said, you live and you learn. It'll be okay. All right. So as I wait for this to dry, I figured let's go ahead and get this glass down so I can spend the next 4 years pushing it where I want to and getting it set for when I put the resin in there. And then I had an idea. Once I get it to, because I want it kind of, because of how the fabric is kind of going up and over a little bit, not up and over, but it's going kind of up the sides just the tiniest bit. I want the glass like all the way up against the edge, but I want it to cover the edge of that fabric, so it needs to be up a little bit higher. Now, what's going to happen when I put the resin in there is it's going to do what it wants to do. It's going to move. It's going to float because, believe it or not, this glass glitter actually floats unless you push it down. And I don't want that. I don't want it to travel on the inside at all. So I decided that I'm going to do something else with it. But first, we're just going to, we've got to let this finish drying before I can get to that point and work on that. So what we're going to do now is we are going back to the coasters. All right. Now, you can already see how it's darkened that fabric just between the two pieces, the one that we just had and this one. So it has darkened it. It's fine. I did get some air bubbles, but it's fine. I'm at the point where I can still fix them. All I need to do is I just took my scribe and I poked in the holes and made it so that when I put my next layer of clear resin down, I can pay attention, obviously, to where the holes are and push the air bubbles out and just push the resin in there. And then you'll never even know that they were there to begin with. And it's only a handful of them. I decided that I wanted to use those beautiful foils that I used in the black and gold ornaments a couple videos back. I have a few left, so I thought that they would be really pretty on here just to kind of give it a little bit more interest, and why not, right? So that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to bounce off while I get all of these on and all of that good stuff, and then I will be back when we are ready for the resin and the next steps with the bowl.
Snowflakes falling pure and white. Old red trucks with pine trees loaded. Country Christmas hearts unfolded. Wood stove crackles warmth inside, dusty roads with horse-drawn rides. Friends and family gather round in this small beloved town. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with trees, arms are close so bright. In the heart of the countryside, our spirits rise tonight. Ribbons tied on bales of hay, neighbors waving, kids at play. Carolers singing soft and low by the fields where winters glow. Handmade stockings by the fire reflect our hopes and our desires. Silent night upon the hill, peaceful, tranquil, calm and still. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with trees, arms aglow so bright. In the heart of the countryside, our spirits rise tonight. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with trees, horns aglow so bright. In the heart of the
Okay, I'm back. So I went through, all that's done, got the holes poked out. Now it's time to do this. Now, what I decided is that for the frog, like I said, we're just going to put some of the glass glitter in with the resin at the bottom and have it in his feet and whatever. I didn't feel like dealing with it dry again, so I'm just going to add a little bit of each of the colors into the cup that we're going to put the clear resin into, because there's also a few other things that I want to add into this last layer for the coasters and for this bowl. But first, we need to deal with the glass glitter. So what I decided to do is to hold it in place. I am just going along all of the glass, and I am putting just a very, very minuscule amount of UV resin down, and I'll mix up the glitter a little bit just to get it all wet. This way I can cure it. It's not going anywhere. It'll all be together. It'll be stuck down, and when I go to pour the epoxy on top of it, I don't got to worry about it moving or any of that. All I have to do is just make sure it goes above the layer of glitter. So this part is going to take me a while to do. Like it took quite a while. I'm not going to make you sit here and go through all of it, but it did take me a long time to do. It kept wanting to get stuck to all of the tools that I was using, but I wanted to make sure that all the colors were mixed up nicely, right? That they were all covered in UV resin, and that none of them were too high. I wanted to make sure that it was covering that fabric edge so that you don't see it, but at the same time, there not being any random pieces that are, just doing what they want to do and hanging out in the wrong spots. I don't want it too high because I want to make sure that my resin goes over it. And again, we talked about, I don't want it to, do things that it shouldn't be doing and having to go up too high and just all of the things. Cured it for about 6 minutes all the way around just to make sure it was nice and good. Now I've got a whole lot of resin in here because, like I said, those coasters are chunky molds. A little bit off to the side for the frog. And then I'm going to divide this into a bunch of cups because I did like 24 ounces of resin for this mix. Again, let's resin's resin. Now, I'm decanting because of a couple things. I don't want to have to worry about flash curing. Also, I need to put this through my bubble remover. So I'm doing one mixture now with just a tiniest bit of foil, a little bit of Into Resin's non-sinking glitter. Now it's a really light green. It's not dark, but I've noticed that when with these, you don't really necessarily see the color, you see more gold. And I thought, well, the gold color works for what I've got going on, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, as I mixed it, I did make sure to break up that foil as much as possible. This one, I put it into my Let's Resin curing machine, but what happened was I realized that, because I've got two bubble removers. I've got the Let's Resin and I've got the Resiners one. Let's Resin holds these big cups. The Resiners one does not. So I've got it going in the Let's Resin, and then I'm going to actually switch it out, put that in my Resiners, put these big cups into the Let's Resin one at a time, just to get all the bubbles out, right? Now, I apologize because I did not realize as I had it going that it's making my camera do some wonky stuff. So for the next, couple of minutes, if it's moving, and which it does, I don't understand why, but I guess the vibrations did affect it somewhat. So it'll be over soon, and I don't think it's that much that it's going to be too much of a problem for anyone. I hope not, but I do apologize just in case. Anyway, mixing it up, breaking up that gold foil just to make sure that I've got small pieces. I don't want anything huge in there. And putting it through the bubble remover machine. Now, the big cups I'm putting in for 6 minutes just because it's deeper than the other one. And as that's going, we are going to get our frog together. Now, doing the same thing, a little bit of that glitter, a tiny bit of that foil, mix it all up, and then we are going to finish off our frog, get him done out the way, and then after the next batch of resin is done in the bubble remover machine, then we'll work on what's next. So for the frog, super simple. I just put it in. And then as I was doing the feet, I did want to make sure that there was some of that glass glitter was in there and the foil so that you could see it, because of all of the frog, that's the only part that any of this is going to be seen. Like nobody's, unless you're displaying the frog upside down for whatever weird reason, there's no reason why you're going to be looking at the back all the time, right? So I do want to make sure that those pieces are in the feet and the toes and everywhere that I don't have resin right now. Taking my time to do that, and then that's it for him. Quick spray of alcohol, set him off to the side to cure. So yeah, so I'm just going to do this real quick. He's pretty much done. Now it's time to do the bowl. Now, again, when you are putting stuff like glitter and these foils and stuff like that into the bubble removers, because it sucks out the stuff, all the glitter and the foil is going to come to the top. So you do want to give it just a light stir, nothing crazy. You don't want to incorporate bubbles back into it, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. So I went in with just a little bit at first. I want to give the fabric some time to start kind of soaking it in, and also going, like, I don't want to fill it too much, but I do want to make sure that I have all that glass covered. So first thing, I want to go in, smooth it all the way out, touching the glass, and then go in with my heat gun and just kind of blow it up on top of it a little bit. Make sure, see, I don't understand why my camera is moving. Like, my camera is not moving. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, make sure that there's no bubbles. Make sure that I'm not going so high that it's going to get resin where I don't want resin. And then we are going to, sorry, the vibrations just kind of threw me off. Then I'm going to just ever so carefully take my craft stick and go up over top of the glass. Now, I'm hoping that I don't necessarily have to put any more in here because it is pretty high. I mean, I'm not losing a whole lot of depth to the bowl, but I don't want to lose any more. And that the foil, I've noticed that it tends to want to float up to the top. And if it comes up to the top and it protrudes in any of these areas, then I'm going to have to put another layer down. So that's just going to take up even more space. So I do need to be careful. Now I will go and push down the foil just to make sure, but you know, resin can be like a toddler throwing a tantrum sometimes and just do what it wants and everything that you don't want it to do. So it's possible that as it goes through the curing process that the foils go back up. I do want to make sure that they don't, but that's another reason why I'm trying to be very mindful of how deep I am putting it. All right, so this is done. We're going to let this pretty much cure, do its thing. I did just take a little bit of just the resin, not the glass, that I had left over from the frog just to add into it just because. And that's it. This is done. There's one area. See where I'm messing with right there? A bubble keeps popping up and I'm really kind of worried about it, but hopefully nothing stupid will happen. Now these guys, I shouldn't have an issue at all. My fabric's already been covered, so in theory, it's just finishing filling up the molds. As much as however much resin I have left, which I think it was about 16, 17 ounces of resin I had left over after this, as long as it fills it, however high it fills it, that's what they're going. I'm not putting no more resin in there. But I am making sure that anywhere that there was a hole that I dug out, that I am going in there with my scribe and poking out the air so that it fills that up and you won't be able to see it when we demold. There's only, I think, one, maybe two that happened in the middle from the fabric. If there was any others, it was around the side and it was because of the way that the glass hit it or whatever. So I am just making sure, you can see right there I'm doing it as my camera does some weird ghost shit, that I was poking the air out of that hole. Super, super easy fix. All right, I'm just going to go through this, finish filling it up. I am running out of things to say, so I'm just going to bounce off here. And then when I come back, hopefully we will be ready to demold these guys and everything will work out fine. I will catch you guys on demold.
Snow falls down, shining tonight. Lights twinkles softly so bright. Families gather around the tree. Moments shared in harmony. Stalking sun by fire's glow. Warm hearts and melt the cold snow. Joy in every laugh we hear. Closer now, another year. This is the meaning of Christmas time. Love and laughter meet the strife. Holding close the ones we hold dear. Wishing joy to last all year. Stars up high shine like a tree. Whispers carol down every street. Magic fills the winter air. Happiness is everywhere. Presents wrapped in shining blue. Kindness in the hearts we show. Everything feels like a dream.
Okay, I am back. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to see how this turned out? I know I am. So as soon as I'm done fiddling here, we are going to get to the final reveals, the final steps and embellishments that we're going to do just to fix these up the rest of the way. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, here is the bowl. Absolutely beautiful. I did get a couple of small bubbles on the top from like the foils where they're kind of poking up. So I will, not in this video because this video is long enough as it is, but I will go ahead and do another top coat on there. I'll pop those holes and get that all figured out. Do a thin layer and just get rid of those altogether so we have a completely smooth surface. All right, here is our little Ralph Lauren inspired frog. 3, 2, and he's so cute. Now, again, you can tell a little bit on the fabric. There's a little bit where you can see, I guess, the glue or whatever. All in all, not too horrible. Now, if you're able to do this the right way around, like with the coasters, you can completely get rid of that. But it is what it is. I don't think it's horrible at all. But let's look at these coasters. These coasters, guys, are just perfection. I absolutely love them. The gold chrome powder that I use to dust, I mean, absolutely perfect. No imperfections at all that you can really see, which is amazing because I was really worried about that. Now, of course, because I didn't fill the mold up 100%, we do have a sharp edge around there. So we'll clean that up just a little bit. I don't want to go in too deep. I just want to take just that sharpness off. I don't want to dig in too deep because it leaves an unfinished look around there. And I played around with the idea on whether or not I should put a thin gold paint pen line around it, but I decided against it. It could potentially finish it off a little bit more, but I don't want it to be too much. Like, we've got a lot going on. There's a lot more glitter in there than what I thought I was putting in, which is fine. I think they look absolutely just beautiful. But I just didn't want to add too much to it, so I opted not to. If you guys think differently and you think I should, let me know in the comment box below. But now I'm just going to take my deburring tool and very, very carefully, I'm not putting any pressure on it at all. I'm just taking off just that sharp bit, and that's it. We're going to clean up the rest. We are going to do a little bit more with the bowl, a little bit more with the frog, and then that's it. So at this point, guys, I have talked for like 40 some odd minutes. I'm done talking. We're going to wrap things up as I kind of finish it all. I would love to know what you think in the comment section below. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Two snow friends in the snowy white, red and green, they're dressed up right. By a campfire's glowing light, waiting for Santa through the night. Hats and scarves all knit with care, gloves to keep their icy hands fair. Fire crackles in the frosty air, dreams of gifts they both will share. Santa's coming down the lane, bringing joy like a sweet refrain. Snowflakes dance in a crystal chain, merry moments that remain. Stars above and moon so bright, snowy duo in pure delight. Whispers of the magic night, wonder fills the silent sight. Red and green in winter's hold, stories of the nights retold. Gifts of warmth more precious than gold, waiting for dreams to unfold. Santa's coming down the lane, bringing joy like a sweet refrain. Snowflakes dance in a crystal chain, merry moments that remain. Stars above and moon so bright, snowy duo in pure delight. Whispers of the magic night, wonder fills the silent sight. Red and green in winter's hold, stories of the nights retold. Gifts of warmth more precious than gold, waiting for dreams to unfold. Ooh.
We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong. In every comment bright, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's up for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel